Early access. While it's great that we have got Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord confirmed and a release date that we can actually get our hands on and play it, I know there will be a lot of people unsure about whether early access is a great thing, since early access has somewhat been tainted in the past few years, with games such as DayZ coming out, showing their early access and not being great in the end. And a lot of the times early access games are pushing too far forward. Even in our own community, games like Of Kings and Men try and go into early access, but they don't have the ideas and anything up to follow through. So it ends up people just giving their money and no one really getting all that much back for it, or at least not what they were promised. So when Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord went into early access, there was a lot of mixed reactions, mostly positive. But let me put to rest some ideas and things if you have some queries about Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord in early access, because they have released a full article on their early access Steam page. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Quickly before I get into the video, make sure you check the links out in the description to go into Aniba Games. You can get some great deals on pretty much any game. Kingdom Come Delivered is £17 and it's like 40 quid on Steam, so it's sort of a no-brainer. All the Total War games, pretty much any Steam games, but not even just Steam games, any platform, Xbox, PS4, whatever. You can click the links in the description and support the channel. Mount & Blade, the full collection is like £3 and that's got everything in, so you might as well. Make sure you go and use code RESONANT to get a 3% discount. Links in the description, and if you register now, which you don't have to, but you can, you also get another euro off it. So that's something you can do if you have the time and want to support the channel. This is not the first time Tailwoods have tried out early access, and this is why I think that this actually could go down pretty well. They've done it before, and it worked well before. With the original Mount & Blade, they had early access back in 2005, and yes, this was how they did it. They didn't just release the game straight out, and even as a completely unknown franchise and unknown development company, Tailwoods decided to do this early access in order to help with their development, in order to get feedback from the community. They also did a similar thing with Warband in terms of a multiplayer beta. It wasn't quite early access, but it had a similar method, getting this feedback from the community and putting in most of what you have, but with bugs and things like that, and then being able to fix them for the full release of the game. So this is not a new thing to Mount & Blade. This was the days before early access was tainted. It was always a great idea, and I still think it is when done right. But as I said, the past few years there has been a bad shtick put onto early access, but I do feel like Mount & Blade and Tailwoods are from before this happened, and hopefully they go down the same route and it doesn't have the effects that we've seen it have in the past few years. But how long is it going to be in early access? That is the golden question. It's all well and good it coming out in March 2020, but that is just the early version. How long until we're going to get a full version? Well, Tailwoods themselves have stated on their Steam page they expect it to be in early access for around a year. A year might seem like a long time to some people, but really it isn't, especially for a game like this. And in the meantime, we're still going to get the game. I'll move on to a little bit later what we're actually going to be able to play in the early access, but it's not like we're going to be short-handed. It seems like the full version that we're going to get around a year after the early access release is not actually going to be a massive difference to the initial early access we get in the first place. So what do we get in this early version? Will we be missing out on a lot waiting for the full release? Well, they have stated that the early access version of the game contains a wealth of content that will keep the players engaged for many hours. It will be very much stable and playable, but of course, early access, you can expect some bugs and other issues, but that is the point of it, giving that feedback so they can fix it before the full release. The early access version will be reusing scenes from different towns, may lack some supporting features, and may have a limited number of quests, voiceovers, etc. It may also lack localizations for some languages. So these are just these small teething points that aren't actually going to affect your mass gameplay. You're going to get pretty much the Bannerlord experience out of it, just with a tiny bit less content. It's still going to be playable, with maybe a few bugs in there that can be fixed, but these aren't going to be obvious bugs since they're all going to be fixed throughout the early access launch, and it's going to be all fixed before the actual full release. There may be fewer quests, but you're still going to get enough to show you what this game is about and the sort of things that we can expect upon full release. And things like voiceovers, and I expect some sounds as well, these aren't that necessary to your full gameplay experience. Yes, you have to realize that it is an early access, and when you're playing it, if there's a bit of a bug in the voiceover or some characters just don't have voices, then you're going to understand that because it is in an early version of the game. But once again, these are going to be fixed throughout as well. But it's not just going to be a fact of release early access and then release full version. There's going to be updates throughout the course of the early access period. A bit like the beta that we have at the moment for the multiplayer. We have been playing it and it's been great fun, but throughout they've been updating it, adding bits, and I've seen even the little bits that I've been playing that even tiny little details have been fixed, such as the projectiles have been fixed. There's been a lot of differences. The captain mode has been added in, and while this is a bit bigger thing, you can just see that increment of improvement that Tailwoods have been doing. And if they're showing that they can do this well with the beta and actually making improvements from community feedback rather than just leaving it or making it worse, I have a lot of faith that they can do the same with the early access, and I think it's going to make a big difference, as you'll see lots and lots of increments, maybe small changes, maybe ones that you don't quite expect, maybe in the background, but they actually make a better experience from the whole of your gameplay experience throughout the early access. There may be some missing supporting features such as rebellions, kingdom creation and weapon crafting from the initial release of early access, but they have stated that these will be introduced throughout the course, so you're not going to have to wait that full year to get pretty much your full Bannerlord experience. The big things that are missing will be released incrementally as they are finished and put into the game. And then of course, probably a year or so on from now, we're going to get the full release and everything you can expect. But I love the fact that it's not just going to be this is an early access where we just have a multiplayer. You're going to be able to play the full single player experience, and while there may be a few things missing, in terms of gameplay, in terms of feel, you're going to get a great idea of what they're going for Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord, and it's going to be incredibly fun. There probably won't be modding and things like that during the early access, since they sort of want to finish their game first before they let it out to other people to start modding it. That sort of makes sense. They haven't really stated where the modding would be, but it makes sense that they're not going to put it in straight away, so you won't expect that, of course. There may be smaller things like the replay mode, these little extra bits. The map creation might not be in straight away in early access, since they'll probably come in later on, since they're not massive parts of the game when it comes to actually getting it right for a gameplay experience point of view. They're little extras that you can do on the side, so they're probably going to be the last things that are put in. But what is the current state of this early access version that they have at the moment? Well, it contains all the main staples for the Mount and Blade experience. Of course, we have seen they already have the character creation that is already in the beta, so that will be in the early access version. There'll be so many things. You'll have the large scale battles already, all the command systems, the intuitive skill-based directional combat system, raid settlements, lay siege and capture enemy towns, trading goods, gathering armies, waging war, upgrading and managing settlements, and so much more things that you can do, all in this vast single player sandbox setting. Now, the early access version, whilst containing the single player, will also contain fully supported multiplayer game modes, so you can test your combat skills and tactical prowess against the players all over the world. So yeah, it was expected. If they're going to bring the single player in, they're probably going to bring the multiplayer in the early access. Well, how developed it's going to be, who knows? It's probably going to have a lot of teething problems at the beginning. We did see that at the beginning of the beta, and that was only a few people coming in. There were still bugs, and once early access is out, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people coming in, so you know, bugs galore to start with on the multiplayer. But as I said, these will be updated and fixed as time goes on. Modding, probably not, especially in the multiplayer, but I think events and community people are going to start doing stuff in the early access version. I don't think people are going to wait for the full release. I think it's actually going to start sooner. I mean, I'm definitely excited to get into a community and getting clans running again, especially the fact that they do include it saying fully supported multiplayer, which means that we do have all the game modes pretty much that we can expect, and hopefully our own community service will be possible. But if you want to give feedback, make sure you use the official forums in the Steam forums for Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. There will also be lots of questionnaires being going out after early access is released, so you can keep updated and keep the developers updated on your feedback. Another way to get good feedback to the developers is to leave comments on these videos and or just email me. I have my email in my YouTube, and hopefully I can get a lot of feedback and put it together in a video, because I do know some of the developers do watch these videos, so it is a great way of getting everyone's feedback and putting them in one place, or put them on the forums. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to leave a like on the video, I would much appreciate it, and subscribe to the channel. Also, click the link in my description to head over to my Patreon, since I'll be doing a lot more with that in the up and coming weeks, and I would really appreciate any support on that if possible. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and until then, I will see you in the next one.